Tofu is one of the most widely eaten plant-based foods in the world, yet many people still aren't exactly sure what it is. Some people think tofu is a type of cheese, while others assume it's simply a processed vegetarian substitute for meat. In reality, tofu has a fascinating history and a surprisingly simple origin. Tofu is made from soybeans, one of the most protein-rich plants on Earth. Through a process that is actually very similar to making cheese from milk, soy milk is curdled and pressed into solid white blocks. The result is a soft, mild-tasting food that can absorb flavors from almost anything it's cooked with. For more than 2,000 years, tofu has been a staple ingredient in many Asian cuisines, including Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Southeast Asian cooking. It appears in soups, stir-fries, desserts, and even street food dishes. But tofu is more than just an ingredient. It's a cultural food with a long history, impressive nutrition, and an incredible ability to transform into many textures and flavors. So what exactly is tofu, and why has it remained so popular for centuries? What tofu is made of? At its core, tofu is made from soybeans. Soybeans are small, protein-packed legumes that have been cultivated in East Asia for thousands of years. When dried soybeans are soaked in water and ground, they produce a creamy liquid known as soy milk. This soy milk is the key ingredient in tofu production. Just like dairy milk can be turned into cheese, soy milk can be coagulated to form curds. These curds are the building blocks of tofu. To create the curds, producers add a natural coagulant to hot soy milk. Common coagulants include calcium sulfate, magnesium chloride, also called nagari, or other mineral salts. These substances cause the proteins in the soy milk to separate and clump together. Once the curds form, they are collected and pressed into molds. Depending on how much water is pressed out, the tofu can become soft, medium, firm, or extra firm. This simple process transforms liquid soy milk into the familiar white blocks of tofu seen in grocery stores. How tofu is made. The process of making tofu begins with dried soybeans. These beans are first soaked in water for several hours, usually overnight. Soaking softens the beans and prepares them for grinding. After soaking, the soybeans are blended with water to create a thick slurry. This mixture is then boiled and filtered to separate the solids from the liquid. The liquid that remains is soy milk, which serves as the base for tofu. Next comes the coagulation step. A coagulant is added to the hot soy milk, causing it to curdle. The proteins in the soy milk bind together and form soft curds, floating in a watery liquid similar to whey in cheese production. Finally, the curds are placed into molds lined with cloth and pressed into blocks. The longer the tofu is pressed, the firmer it becomes. The finished tofu is cooled in water and packaged, ready to be cooked in countless dishes. Different types of tofu. Not all tofu is the same. In fact, tofu comes in several different textures, each suited for different recipes and cooking methods. The softest type is silken tofu, which has a smooth, custard-like texture. It's often used in soups, smoothies, sauces, and even desserts. Because it is delicate, it usually isn't stir-fried. Next is soft tofu, which is slightly firmer but still fragile. It's commonly used in Asian soups such as miso soup or spicy Korean stews. Firm tofu holds its shape well and is perfect for stir-frying, grilling, or baking. Many people use it as a meat substitute because it can absorb marinades and develop a crispy exterior when cooked. The densest variety is extra firm tofu. This type contains the least amount of water, making it ideal for frying, grilling, or cubing into salads and rice dishes. Why tofu is so nutritious. One of the main reasons tofu has become popular around the world is its impressive nutritional profile. Despite being made from plants, tofu contains a large amount of protein. In fact, tofu is considered a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids that the human body cannot produce on its own. This makes tofu a valuable protein source for vegetarians and vegans. Tofu is also rich in minerals. Because many tofu producers use calcium sulfate as a coagulant, tofu can contain significant amounts of calcium, which supports strong bones and teeth. In addition, tofu contains iron, magnesium, and beneficial plant compounds known as isoflavones. These compounds have been studied for potential health benefits, including heart health and hormone balance. Why tofu tastes like almost anything? One thing that surprises many people about tofu is how mild its flavor is. On its own, tofu tastes very subtle, almost neutral, but this is actually one of its greatest strengths. Because tofu doesn't have a strong taste, it easily absorbs the flavors of whatever ingredients it's cooked with. When marinated in soy sauce, garlic, spices, or sauces, tofu can take on those flavors remarkably well. This ability makes tofu incredibly versatile. It can be used in savory dishes like stir-fries, curries, and noodle bowls. At the same time, silken tofu can be blended into desserts like puddings, cheesecakes, and chocolate mousse. Chefs around the world have learned how adaptable tofu can be. With the right cooking method, grilling, frying, baking, or blending, it can transform into a wide variety of textures and flavors. Tofu may look simple, but it is actually the result of a fascinating transformation of soybeans into a versatile and nutritious food. By curdling soy milk and pressing the curds into blocks, people have created a protein-rich ingredient that has lasted for thousands of years. From silky tofu used in desserts to extra-firm tofu used in stir-fries, this humble soybean product can take on many different textures and flavors. Its mild taste allows it to absorb marinades, spices, and sauces, making it incredibly adaptable in cooking. Beyond its versatility, tofu also offers impressive nutrition. Packed with protein, minerals, and beneficial plant compounds, it has become a favorite food for people seeking healthy and sustainable meals. So the next time you see a block of tofu in the grocery store, remember that it isn't just a meat substitute. It's a centuries-old food with a rich history, simple ingredients, and the power to transform into almost any dish imaginable.